Hello there and welcome back again everyone. My ship, my new huge scale ship has come along very nicely I think. There's a lot of promising potential here. A few things that still need to be worked on, but at least we have a rough outline that we have going for us. Although there is a lot of shading issues for trying to fill at the bottom, but we're making progress. And again, the camera's already starting to rebel on me. This is not a good sign. The last thing I need is a rebelling camera to try and place everything. Also, I may also want to raise this component up or at least make it taller because I don't think it's quite low enough, because otherwise there's going to be a lot of clipping issues when I do eventually fill out. So that's another thing I'm going to have to consider. So let me just raise that up some, or rather lower it, and then that'll give us something to work towards. And damn it, what did I tell you about the rebelling camera? This is going to be a thing. It happened a crap ton with my Legacy, my Cycleon huge scale cruiser, and it's happening again. Maybe I should stop trying to make ships so big. Come on, it's a friggin' huge scale cruiser. It's supposed to be big. I shouldn't try and cheat that system, right? Of course, this camera kinda disagrees, so where the hell was I? Probably trying to fill this out. And I almost wonder if I just want to stretch it longer. That might be a simple fix for now. And then if I could find some way to fill out, because I'm not sure as hell not going to be able to see how it fills. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to see how stretched the textures are, so I don't think that matters so much. Because again, no shading to really reliably see underneath there, so otherwise, really good promise. I like it. It's just a matter of how to continue with it. And so I'm having a really difficult time trying to do that, because these side components need to have something put on it there to kind of like fill out in some form and all that, as well as these points need to get connected at some point. Jeez, I wanted to come up with a different word and I didn't succeed in that front. So what the hell can I throw on here to start off with? Because I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I'm not quite sure unless these don't look anything like the rest of the ship, to be honest. I was thinking maybe making these bigger and use them as a sort of filler. I don't think that's going to work out very well. So I'm going to abandon that right now while I have a chance to, and figure out where to go from here, because these side components need a little bit of a curve, I think. Maybe ideally connect to the side of this thing, because it looks really flat as far as being basically a single component there. A little bit oversized in that. And did I ever invert the textures, and how does that look? Do I like it that way? I think I like it better that way, to be honest. So we're going to go with it. Other than that, where the hell can I go from here? I'm not honestly sure. I have a few ideas, but a lot of this is going to be playtesting. Trial and error as usual, so I apologize for the excessively long process. But as we said, the campaign itself is pretty much done, so this is kind of unnecessary. And I could use a break from such a disappointing campaign, so I can use this component as like a filler, like I did with the other one. I just don't know if I want to rotate this way or the other way, and go figure. Camera angles are not cooperating very well, so I was hoping to just twist it around, maybe have these points sticking out some, but we see how well that's working, right? It takes a lot of hassle just to see if that component works or not, and I don't think it does, to be perfectly honest. At least its current position. Unless I make it a little bit bigger, that's an idea, that's a possibility. And I could probably raise this up to be level with this little point here, because I see the center of that area. If I have enough of it sticking out, I could probably do that similar to what I have with this generator here. I like that potential. I just don't know how big I want to make it's the only thing. If I want to even actually make it smaller instead or not. So that is a bit of a question for me. Which way do I like to go with this? Also, do I want to make... how long do I actually want to make it? Oh, that's the wrong axis because I had to rotate. Silly me. Which one's for the length? Okay, there's the length. Because I think do I want to... yeah, I kind of want to get rid of the lighting, and of course, there's a bit of an intrusion there, isn't there, as far as covering over this light here, so I need to be careful of that. In fact, I may need to consider rotating. Okay, thankfully that rotation actually works here, so I think we're all set. Nobody panic. It's just a matter of playtesting to see which I like better. Because I could do it like that and cover up that little peg that's sticking out, or I can curve in and give a different look altogether. Which do I like the potential of more? To be honest, I'm not quite sure. But if I do it like that, it just starts to clip the lighting there, which I don't want. So I think we'll just get rid of it altogether. There. Then we'll figure out how to position hiding works, because I think I need to lower it, don't I? Yeah, I need to lower it a tiny bit, which also means the scaling needs to come down some. So let's get this symmetrical in a sense. Bring it down to 67, hope that's enough. Bring it down so it doesn't intrude with the lane below it. And hopefully that centers it some. It does. A little bit, but it does. I almost wonder, now that I'm thinking of it, do I have it stick out more, actually? Go sideways more, then rotate inward. Have it like channel. It's probably a little too early to actually think of this complex design, because I still gotta figure out how the rest of the body is gonna look. So I'm probably getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna have to admit, I may be getting ahead of myself a little bit. But I was thinking of maybe having it stick out a bit and then angle it to where it kind of bounces off that and hits the other one maybe. Seems a little ridiculous, and like I said before, I'm kind of overthinking it a bit. Just a little bit. So let's sit back and worry about that for later, I think. Also, is that clipping? It's just barely clipping, so sizing is going to have to adjust a tiny bit if I do that or not. But we'll leave it there for now and go back to what the original plan was, which I think is these two components here. Try and get some kind of form where it either connects this bottom piece or at least complements it pretty well. What would be a good way to do that though? Because a lot of these huge scale components I have absolutely no idea what they are, let alone if I can use them. Because this looks like just a standard block component, so that's nothing exciting. Unless I make it incredibly oversized, which may not be really a good idea, but let's try it. Let's up the scale to 150, I guess. Seems relatively good. And how does that seem? And what's the potential? Because the lighting is consistent with this side piece, so that has promise. But is that what I want? Because it's still, again, going to need some filling out. Because it is really rough on its own, after all, so... And camera, again, not cooperating. Shading's being a pain in the ass. Thanks a lot there, Galactic Civ. Thanks a lot. You are helping me a lot with this process. Or, I could just go with all metal trim there and have like the bottom and maybe that back portion have the blue. At least it's more consistent with the lane here. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Because it's really difficult to actually work with it. As far as the camera angles is concerned. And I could stick it in some. How does that look? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Now, do I want to center it in any way? Because there's no line on the bottom. Actually, what happens if I invert it? Upside down. Is there anything on the bottom that I care about? Oop. Well, clearly it gets rid of the entire thing altogether. Go figure. And that has a little bit of lane component to it, of course. Now we get this really awkward like slope outward, which I don't like. So let's not do that. Let's not do that and try and think of something else. Because that's so flat and has no lane at all, if I were to stick with that piece, I need to throw something else on it. Which is going to be great, but I don't know what components these even do. Or what these even are, rather. And for reasons I already stated, it's impossible to tell what the textures look like. So this is a pain in the ass. Although we'll have to use our imagination, I guess, to see if it actually works or not. Because, for all I know, there could be like 50 different shades of blue and gray on this thing. For all I know, and I don't think I'm gonna find out until the ship's actually built and if it flips upside down for me. That might be the only way I'm gonna find out. Now the question is, do I invert this? Well, I don't know if I want to invert or not, but I think it's ideal. I may want to stretch it. What looks better? Probably having these clamps or hooks like sticking inward, because it looks like I could connect them to something, and I don't really want to go forward more until I have something filled out here for this gap. Otherwise, this can work for something here. I just don't know what I want to expect of it, and I can't make it too tall because then that little longer component sticks out. And I don't think I care about it sticking out the side like that, because I think I'm going to fill it out, or I can make it work how it already is, and that at least gives us a little bit more lighting. I don't actually think this is centered though, is it? That could be a problem. How about we fix that, shall we? Let's see. Okay, at least the line there and looks okay. At least I have some lane to work with. Barely. So now, which way do I like it? I think I like it better with that metal silver. I'll have to hold on to that idea for later, but now, do I continue on with this, or should I actually focus on connecting these 2 points together in some form? Which begs the question, do I just move this forward, which promptly moves everything else, including this component here, surprisingly enough. Not that I really care about that. I kind of want something else, to be honest, to kind of fill the gap. I just don't have a clue how to do that, or how to start. Hell, I could even move it in more. There's a lot of options here available to me. What do I like the prospect of? I like the idea of making this like massive engines, quite honestly. Having 2 massive thrusters on this thing. Although making it larger might be a bit problematic later on down the road. But I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna roll with it for now, and maybe I have to make it narrower as a result. I'm not quite sure just yet. Again, a lot of this is work in progress. And let's separate these a little bit. That's the wrong axis. Just a tiny bit, a bit of a gap, so at least they seem like they're separate components. And see what we have to work with. They're almost equal in the size, and at least the sides anyway are about the same length, so it could be just a straight connection point. What's ideal way to do that though? What is an ideal way? What would look good as far as connecting on that? It's going to be tricky because it's octagonal shape. I could easily slap something like this component there, and that would at least fit with the proper scaling, but is that going to actually connect in any way that I like? Probably not, because I think I need something a little more original, a little more creative. Because I got these kind of components that help. They got a curve to them. I think they're way too big, the only problem is, so it's not going to work on its own. And I can't remember, did I use these components before? I think I used these components at least for like the bandit, or not the bandit, but the banish, but I can't remember how I used it is the thing. And I also think I used it for my trespasser as well, but that was more of a cosmetic thing rather than actual function of the design. Can't quite remember though. And of course it's either one extreme or the other. It's either all blue or all silver, which I'm not really fond of. Not really fond of in either sense, so worst case I could probably use this component here to cover up some of that, maybe. I just don't quite know just yet. So let's rotate this a bit, get it a little more flat, or at least seamless, I guess is the proper term. If only a little bit. We'll adjust the scaling so that way it gets wider. So that's the right scaling, so move it in, and we'll start there. Do I completely cover it? Probably not, but I can still rotate more regardless. to get a little bit more of a seamless fit. And I do like the idea of some of that trim sticking out, to a certain degree, of course. And how does that look when it's blue? It doesn't really stand up very well, and of course this metal trim here kind of is a bit of an eyesore, so I think I prefer it that way, and that actually seems to connect relatively well. Not perfectly, but it connects relatively well to my liking. What happens if I make it higher? Is that good? Or is that not? I'm half concerned about the textures, but this looks like a nice connection point to an extent. It's also not centered properly because I see it clipping with the blue trim there. So can we adjust that? I think that makes like a good point. There's a little bit of an eyesore in the back though, so if I invert that, does that help? Not quite, I don't think. I want to say no. I almost want to keep this, rotate a little bit more, try and keep what the front looks like, but smooth out this back section. Think what I'm going to try and do. Do I want... Okay, I can actually type in the degrees, because for some reason I'm getting decimal points now. So, what kind of degree do I want? It might be better just to do single degree rotations, so that way I can get fine-tuned. And now it's 0.5 for some reason. I don't know why we're suddenly getting decimal point angles. I wouldn't know, but we're stuck with it anyway. Let me do something a little more extreme. Only thing I dislike is it starts to slope inward, which kind of counterproductive. So maybe that's good. It's not nearly as intrusive. A little bit of a block there. Everything else seems okay. So I think it's a start, which is better than what I can say, at least. At least a little bit, I guess. And also, this is not quite centered either, so I may want to move that up. Oh crap, never mind that. Everything is stuck attached to it, so that ruins everything if I move it that way. That is lovely. That is lovely. Let's try this again. See if I can get this centered to some extent. Okay. Let's hopefully not have to touch that again. I'm not sure which invert texture I like, because I like it on the side. It starts to become apparent when I change the camera upward, though. Now, enough talking about that. Let's get to next component, which is smoothing out, getting a nice little slope connection point here. And I think I want something to completely cover over the top, ideally. I need to think of what would be a good kind of component for that, though. What would be a good curvature? I don't think I want to use any of these, do I? Can these be used in any formal way? Problem is, there's going to be a lot of gaps there, even if I oversize it. So I don't know if that's going to work the way I think it will, to be perfectly honest. Maybe it might be more effective if I had only a single piece, to be honest, but I don't think it's going to work regardless. I'm going to guess. Is this probably stupid thinking? I'm just trying to think out loud. What would be good? Because the only problem is with this is that it's a single slope. It feels like I need multiple angles for it to kind of flesh out a little bit more, and I don't think this component does it, at least in its current form. What if I were to rotate sideways? And of course I'm on single degree axis, so wish there was a nice easy way to have that, to switch that. Unless there maybe is, and I'm just not aware of it, so maybe I do it a little bit differently. We'll have to see, because that line could still be a problem even if I do try this differently. What if I rotate a little bit more sideways? The only big problem is, of course, the wing on bottom. That is the obvious one. Never mind the fact that the top portion is sticking out too like a sore thumb. So maybe it's the wrong component. Instead, I want the smaller one. We're not really making much progress, are we? Hey, It's a huge scale cruiser. It's something I want to put a lot of work in, but it's just, I don't imagine this is going to be very popular types of videos. Just watching someone else build something there and go through every single tedious little process and attempt even, so I don't imagine that's going to be that's definitely not going to be PewDiePie level of viewership, is it? But this is a little more smaller scale. I just wonder if there's any way I can connect this or rotate it. Because I think it needs to curve inward, of course. Angles are going to be a little bit odd, rather. I don't know if there's any way I could connect this properly. And the lane, of course, is going to stick out. Which means I might have to cover it. Is this doing what I want? I feel like I'm getting there. I just don't think this component does it for me. What happens if I do some ridiculous scaling of some kind? I'm not sure. And that is not... I want to offset, not scale it some more. There we go. Let's see. I don't know what I'm trying to aim for is the problem. I'm not sure what I'm trying to go for here. I just want to, like, have a little bit more of a seamless connection is really all it is. It's going to be a lot of rotations required because, again, this is similar to what the last piece I was trying is. It's just one straight curve, but at least with the line there, it adds a little bit of different angles to it that you could kind of fake it to an extent. I just don't know if this is kind of going to work the way I like, because these are really awkward angles now. Trying to figure out. I feel like I'm getting close. The lighting, of course, sinking in does not help me very much, so. I can make it wider, I can make it narrower. What are my options if I want to try and make this work? Because making it that huge is not going to do it, I think, anymore. I kind of want to make it wider if there was a way to do that. It's close. It feels like it's really close. That lighting, again, is a bit of a problem, but I can cover that up. Worst case scenario. Can I make it flush in some form, though? And what am I missing if I just sink it in some? How does that look? It seems to do okay there. It seems to. It almost kind of looks better with a little bit of a steeper angle. But I don't know. I don't quite know. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. Feels like I'm almost there, but of course light clipping. Not promising even the engines are going to threaten to poke out, so I'm not quite sure. I can always cover over more components there and have this wing there, so I may be overthinking or being too critical about it, to be honest. The only problem is, how do we connect the center? Because a single one of these components I think I could work with. Two of them, not so much. Because it doesn't need, even if it's just a center point, the wings are completely not noticeable, that will be fine. Hell, it might even work better as a connection point for the back engine components with the right scaling and positioning. Because I am going to add more elevation or height to this thing. Without a doubt, so having this bigger might not be too terribly bad. Do I want it back here or in the front, though? I kind of want it more in the back, to be honest. The engines need to be covered up, but we're probably still going to get engine trails regardless. Because since I think it counts every single engine thrusters that are on this ship when it moves around for like visual purposes, I guess. So it's going to count all the engines that are behind this component, as well as these small little wings that have conveniently inverted. So who knows how that's going to look. Unless I think that could work, but of course I need something else with it there. So I'm going to elevate this for time being for a reference point. And maybe I start working on this top component, start figuring that out, because if anything, I almost may want to go with similar components I have down there, but we still need a command center or command point maybe, which the front kind of already does that for me, if I can do that right. I doubt it will, but let's see. Actually, I think this component might work. It seems like it could have synergy with this component below it. Or if this gets directly underneath is what I'm saying, it could synergize well with this other component. I just don't know how it's going to look when I scale. Scale it up there. Because can I sink this in and how will that look? Because it's not going to be perfect, but I don't think I need it to be perfect. Because it covers a lot of it on its own. It almost connects really well with a lot of it too. That seems to connect it relatively well. Again, not perfect, but I can work with this. Oops, damn it. And because of that, I'm going to have... I connected it to this top piece, so that may not have been the smartest thing I've done to date. So this is going to be a bit problematic to try and adjust. Just a little bit. And let's try and put this into place and see how this looks. See if I'm actually making progress for a change, rather than wasting everyone's time, which I probably already know I am. Because after all, ideally, what am I trying to say? Most cases, the campaign itself probably be more entertaining than this, but hey, I am really hoping that by the end of this will make it all worth it. That is the ultimate hope, and it gives a little more ideas for anyone who actually is into the shipbuilding. So, no harm I imagine, but I think there's potential with this as well.